Well guys, today we're going to talk about how I need to calm down when I play Enter Sandman. And we're going to discuss some of my favorite overdrive pedals. And did I hate the ToneX when it first came out? And what's been going on with the Headrush Prime and what are the future plans for that product? And I get a pro tip from someone who watched one of my videos. Let's get started. Well, thanks for joining me for today's episode of Riffs and Responses. This is where I read and respond to comments and questions on some of my previous videos. And I play some riffs for you guys too. I might even do a mix or something like that. And what's cool about this series, listen to me, pat myself on the back.
What I like about the thing that I do.
I don't know, I'm just telling you what I think is cool about it. I feel like I'm offering something a little different here. Instead of just answering your questions, I'm giving you demonstrations to supplement those answers as well. I mean, I can't do it for every single question, but I'll try to do it for as many as I can. So let's get started with the first comment. This is from, I can't even pronounce this, TPOOD-US8SG. However you pronounce that. He says, my God, calm down on Enter Sandman. Well, maybe I was probably playing it a little too fast on one of the episodes. I don't know. I don't ever think about it. A lot of times I'm in a hurry to get something done because, I don't know, it's been a long shoot or whatever, and I'll just blow right through some of the riffs, not even thinking about how fast I'm playing them. I mean, I'm not playing to a click or anything like that. I'm just trying to show you what something sounds like, and I'm not really thinking about how fast or slow I need to play the riff. But just for giggles, let's play Enter Sandman and let's see how fast I can actually play it. This might be fun. I'm going to start out at what I think is the normal speed and work my way up and see how fast I can go. All the way up to train wreck speed. Well, that was fun. So I guess no one can ever say that I played it too fast anymore because I'm never going to play it that fast again, and that was atrocious. So it was fun though, so I hope you enjoyed that. You know what? I just had to get that out of my system. But hey, thanks dude. Thanks for the comment. I really appreciate it. I know you meant it in a lighthearted kind of rib at me, so it's not a problem. I can take a joke. And you're right, I probably do need to calm down sometimes when I'm playing my riffs. And to be honest with you, a lot of times when I'm editing, I'm like, that was way too fast. But I'm like, I'm not shooting that again. It's just going to have to go the way it is. Anyways, on to the next comment. Tattoo Guy 86 says, can you do a video with the iconic head and Dirty Tree? Absolutely. This is where I do the supplemental answers to your questions. I'm not just going to say, oh, this is what I think about the Dirty Tree with the iconic. I'm actually going to fire up the iconic right now and play the Dirty Tree through it and tell you what my thoughts are. And you can hear for yourself as well. So I'm on the green channel and I got the gain cranked up pretty high on it. And the overdrive is off. So I'm going to play a couple riffs and then kick it on. And you'll hear what it does to the amplifier. And it's in DT mode right now. I gotta be honest with you, in DT mode, I don't really like it with this amp. I like the pedal. I think the Dirty Tree mode works really good with really flubby amps. That's what it's made for. But it does have a, what is it, the TC mode. So let's switch over to that and see if that will work with this amp. So I'm going to keep it on DT mode right now, play a couple riffs, switch to TC mode, and see what happens. All right, so it worked much better in the TC mode. See, on the DT side, it just sounded too chopped. You know, it almost was getting that cocked wah sound to it. It hollowed out too much of the low end in the amp, and it just sounded like it was choking. It couldn't breathe, you know, it wasn't really full. But as soon as I switched over to the TC mode, it sounded great. I have the highs at, well, let's start with the top. I got the level at 3 o'clock. I got the highs at just under noon and the lows at 9 o'clock. So that's what's nice about that pedal, is that if one side of the pedal doesn't work for one of your amps, switch to the other side and make some adjustments, and most likely it'll work just fine. So I do recommend this pedal, but I wouldn't recommend the DT side for the Iconic. I would recommend the TC side for it. Hope that helps you out. All right, this next question is from Shaneelan2995. I think that's how you pronounce it. He says, could you do a video on the overdrives and boosts that you use? The settings you use, what works and doesn't. Brit versus American style amps, etc. Great video. Thanks, man. This was on my Friedman JEL20 video. So yeah, I'm glad you watched the video. I'm glad you liked it. And yeah, so I'll be happy to go through a couple of overdrives for you here. I can't go through a bunch of different amps. Sorry, I'm trying to keep the video short, but I will go through some of my settings and tell you what I like and why I like them. And let's just use the EVH Stealth today, the blue channel, because that channel actually is it's a real even-keeled channel. It's an amazing rhythm channel, and I really like how it sounds. So I'm going to go through a couple of different overdrives for you right now with that particular channel on that particular amp, and hopefully that helps you out. Here we go. So the first pedal I want to show you is one of my new favorites. It's actually the Odd Box. So let's go ahead and fire that up right now. And basically the settings are volume all the way up, drive all the way down, and I got the tone at about 1 o'clock, and it's in the UK mode. And when you see me reach down, I'll be switching it to US mode, which is a little less aggressive, less push. And hopefully that'll help you make a decision on that pedal. Then I'll switch to something else. What an amazing pedal. I prefer it in the UK mode because I'm more of an extremist. I like a lot of push and a lot of aggression and response, but I mean, everybody's different. So what's great about this pedal is it has 2 different modes, you know, so if you're playing an amp that's super aggressive and has tons of gain and it's pretty tight, but you just want that extra little bit to make it respond to your playing a little better, maybe the US mode would be better. But if you have an amp or a channel on an amplifier that's a little more even keeled, like the blue channel is on the EVH Stealth, and you just want to have a little more nastiness than usual, then use the UK setting on this pedal and it'll get freaking nasty as hell. And if you really want a little bit more, you can put it in the UK mode and crank the tone knob up a little bit and get some more. So let's try that now. Yeah, that worked really nice as well. So it just depends on your taste and what your amp requires. I always recommend that people have at least, I don't know, 3 or 4 overdrives, because amps are different and they all need different things from pedals. I mean, some amps need more low end cut, some amps need less low end cut, and some pedals cut a lot of low end, and you turn it on and your amp's like starving. You know, it just sounds really thin and anemic. So you need a couple different pedals to pair with your amps accordingly. So the next pedal I would recommend is the Mud Killer. So I'm going to go ahead and start playing some riffs, then I'll engage the pedal while I'm playing and show you what it does. Yeah, really nice pedal, pretty versatile, and it actually has less of a push than some of my other pedals, but it does a really good job. You know, I like the fact that it has a built-in compressor, so you can add a little bit of compression to you know, to the amp in the front end anyways, and instead of a notched, you know, knob to take out the low end like the Precision Drive has, it's variable, so you can turn it any way you want at any setting and really fine-tune how much low end it's cutting out of your amplifier. In fact, it's all the way down from my last video. Let me mess with it real quick and I'll tell you where I end up. Yeah, right around 11 o'clock. Seemed to be pretty good on the fat skinny knob. So yeah, that's also a really good pedal. Now here is one that I used to hate, and until I got to know the pedal. It's the Grid Slammer by Mesa Boogie, and when I first got this pedal, I set it up the way everybody does, you know, level all the way up, gain all the way down, tone in the middle, and it was kind of mellow, and I was like, man, what would I use this for? And then one day, just for giggles, I cranked the tone all the way up, and it just came to life. I'm like, holy crap, this pedal's nasty. It's like an active circuit in there, kind of like what they do with their Mark amps. I didn't realize that. And man, does this thing really wake up the amplifiers. In fact, let's hear what it does. It's off. I'll turn it on while I'm playing. Very, very cool pedal. I think that should be in everyone's toolbox, you know. Now here is an interesting one. This is made by Red 7 Amplification. These are hand built in Italy. And yeah, these things are freaking incredible. This is the Alchemy. And this pedal it's 2-in-1. It's got a clean boost in it on this side, and on this side it has like an overdrive. And you can combine them, you can turn them both on at the same time, and you can take the clean boost and put it either before the overdrive or after That's what the pre and post switch does. And what's cool about combining them is, let's say you you engage the overdrive pedal side, but you want a little more fullness. Go ahead and engage the clean boost and feather in a little bit of that, and all of a sudden it kind of fills it up a little bit. So this is a very, very versatile pedal, and as far as boutique pedals goes, this is definitely one of my favorites. So let's hear what this one does. Now that is one hell of a pedal. I freaking love that pedal. And what's cool is when you combine the two, you know, in here, when you combine both sides, you can, it fills it up, as you heard. I know you heard that. I heard it in the room big time. So this fills it up a little bit, and if you want thicker solos, you can use, you know, this side of the pedal for that too. So if you're like me, your overdrive's always on, and when you go into a solo, you can use this for, like, you know, this side here, the clean boost, for like just to thicken up your notes. And it really does work. It makes a big difference. And, you know, I mean, I could talk to you all day about how great it sounds, but it also feels good. And that's the part that, you know, you'll have to discover for yourself when you're playing this. But the feel is amazing with this pedal. And you really notice it when you're using both sides at the same time and you dial it in properly. It really does make a big difference. And the other thing, too, to keep in mind with this pedal is, where is it? The tone knob. So this is another one of those pedals that when I first got it, I was going to do the review and I was like, man, I don't like this pedal that much. It seemed kind of wimpy, but as soon as I cranked the tone knob up, I was like, oh, there it is. And it's built by an amp builder. So he understands how amps work and how tone stacks work. And, you know, so he built this as an amp builder, not a pedal builder. So it was really cool how he made this pedal, and it really works really well with every amp that I have. So I would say this is definitely one of the most versatile pedals that you can get. So I'd highly recommend the Alchemy by Red 7. So I hope that helps you with your decision on some overdrive pedals. I think that's 4 really good options for you. If you get any one of them, I think you'll be happy. Okay, so this next question is from Mark Grant. He says, I'm looking for recommendations for an overdrive to go before the ToneX for a transparent boost, as well as adding some gain if needed. I kind of like the MXR Sugar Drive and the MXR M77 Modified OD due to the extra features. Any suggestions? Thanks for commenting, and I'm glad that you watched the video that you commented on. It was my last Riffs and Responses video, so I appreciate that. So I think one of the pedals that I just demonstrated, the Alchemy, would be a great option for you because it does have a clean boost side and it also has an overdrive side. You can use one or the other or combine them. As I said earlier, it's a bit pricey, but they're worth it. I mean, it's a very, very good pedal. Other than that, I mean, the Oddbox, I know I'm still in the honeymoon phase with that pedal, but I think that's a great pedal as well. But one of the things too, and I think we did have a little bit of a conversation in the comments section, so I'll refer back to some of that. But I think that, you know, if you're going to use like the ToneX, I mean, it's what I call, and I don't mean this in a derogatory way, but I call it a parasitic product. In other words, it needs a host. It needs something else for it to work. So you're either going to need a power amp and a cab, or you're going to need some sort of pedal platform, or like, you know, pedal board with pedals, or a digital platform, I should say, instead of pedal platform. It should be a digital platform to run it through via 4-cable method. And a lot of those digital platforms are great because when you run it 4-cable method, I mean, you can use some of the overdrives that are in those digital platforms, and they work really well, and you get the effects on top of that as an added bonus. So I would suggest the HX Effects by Line 6. I've been using that with my ToneX, and I've had great success with it. I just hook it up via 4-cable, and I also use the MIDI feature to switch channels and all that on it, so it really works well. And the Horizon drive that it comes with, or the King of Tone, or the Heir Apparent, those are all really good overdrives that are built in there. And I remember shooting out the actual Horizon, you know, drive, the Precision drive with the Horizon drive that's in there. I couldn't tell the difference. So they did a really good job on modeling that pedal. So I would say something like that would be a very affordable and handy option for you. So give that a try. There's lots of overdrives in the HX Effects to choose from, as well as a ton of awesome effects. Okay, so this next question is from Mr. Scrab13. He says, hello, do you know whether Headrush is going to make a smaller version of the Prime, such they did the gig board, smaller version of the pedal board? Good question. You know, what's funny is I haven't heard much about the Headrush Prime at all. There was that initial launch, and, you know, all the guys that got free ones with their O faces and saying all these, you know, hyperbolic statements in their thumbnails about how amazing it was, and then all we have now is crickets. Those same guys are not playing it on their channel. They're not doing any other videos. They just collected their check and did their, you know, overhyped review, if you want to call it review. I would call it more of a promotional commercial video for the unit, and then they just moved on to other things, and you don't ever see them playing it anymore. That thing went out like a fart in the wind. I have heard nothing else about it at all. And I just think it's one of those products that, you know, I just wish that they would have did more with it before they released it. I reached out to them when I heard about it coming out. They never sent me one. I was going to do like a review of it, and I was also going to do what I always do for people is, you know, behind closed doors, email them, call them, whatever, give them a courtesy call and say, hey, you know, I noticed some things that might need to be fixed with the product, and before you release it, or at least do it soon, because you know, I don't know if I would release it like this. And there's just issues with the product. I mean, it won't profile all of my amps, as you saw in my video that I did, and the way that the DSP is being used in it, you can't even have an overdrive and 2 different amp channels or amp profiles in you know, the scenes or whatever you want to call them at the same time. You have to only have 2 things, but not all 3. And it's like, well, what good is profiling your amp and your pedals so that you can have all this stuff, but you can't use it, you know what I mean, in a scene? The way the DSP is being routed and utilized just doesn't allow for that. And I know they're working on that, but it's like, it's one of those things where it's like, you don't pack your chute after you jump out of the plane, you do it before. And I just think that's a problem with a lot of digital platforms these days, is they're just releasing stuff and they're just hoping it doesn't splatter on the ground after they throw it out of the plane, and it just makes no sense. But there's other issues with it as well. I'm not saying it's a horrible product, but I just think it wasn't ready for release yet, and they released it anyways, and now they're struggling to get it up to date, you know. And so as far as a new product or a smaller version of that coming out, I don't see that coming any time in the future because they have a lot of work to do on the initial, you know, Headrush Prime before they can even think about anything else. I think that thing's going to keep them busy for a long time before they can even start thinking about other products. And that's my hope anyways. I mean, if they release a smaller product instead of update the big one, that would be really foolish on their part. But I don't know, man. These days, nothing surprises me anymore, especially when it comes to release the product, have a bunch of, YouTubers that have no scruples, no spine, go ahead and say a bunch of nice things about it, collect your check, and move on to the next product. It's just really sad these days the way things are, and it kind of makes me sick, you know? But it is what it is. That's the way everything is nowadays, and hopefully it'll change soon. Well, here's a perfectly timed question. This is from Gelmer Romero, and this is about my initial ToneX video, the first video I ever did on the ToneX, the one where I had that big goofy intro. He says, cool, thanks for the vid. I haven't seen a quad CORTEX or ToneX vid that have convinced me yet. I didn't like either. Well, thanks for commenting, man. And just so you know, I wasn't really making fun of the product, the ToneX. I was more making fun of the way all the YouTubers just go nuts every time they get sent a free unit and get a little bit of money, and they take it upon themselves to just shill the hell out of it and lie to your faces and cover up the things, the shortcomings, and praise all the things that are good about it. And they forget that they have an audience that they need to be accountable to and honest to, that count on them for, honest reviews of things, you know, and they disguise their infomercials that are actually ad campaigns for products as reviews, and they're not reviews. So basically, I was just making fun of all them guys for doing that, and I was having a little bit of fun. It wasn't mean-spirited or anything, but I was having a little bit of fun with it because, man, that one day when it came out, it was just like all day. It's like, here's another guy who thinks that, IK Multimedia cured cancer and solved world hunger, and there will be no more wars because they came out with a pedal that's $3.99. I mean, it's just ridiculous. You know, the way people act for a little bit of money and a free pedal. It's just so stupid. And I shouldn't say this, but I'm gonna. Who gives a shit? I scoff at these guys sometimes when they do this. I'm like, you bunch of freaking morons, you know? And I'm not saying all of them do. I'm just saying there's certain ones that do. It's the ones with the big hyperbolic thumbnails and like the big statements and stuff. And the problem with that is, if you do that for every video, pretty soon it's like everything is awesome, right? So what's really awesome? What's the truth here? You know, you need to have an honest thumbnail and I get the whole clickbait thing, you know, but at least, you know, if I do a clickbaity kind of thing, I'm gonna deliver on that. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to give you what you're clicking for, as opposed to me just doing some hyperbolic thing on my thumbnail, and then you tune in and you're like, "Where's the stuff?" You know, this is kind of a letdown. I'm never going to do that to you guys, you know. And I just feel like all these guys with these big game changer and all this stuff about these videos and all these titles and these clickbait thumbnails and stuff that are just so over the top. It's just after a while, it's like, well, what's real here? You know, so then when something comes out that really is worthy of those titles, it just blends in with everything else because everything else is titled the same way. So on my channel, if you ever do see some big, clickbaity kind of thumbnail with some hyperbolic stuff on it, I'm either making fun of something or it really is true. I don't do that with all the products that I review. I don't call them all awesome and game changers and it's got everything and I don't do that. I try to give you like the most honest thumbnail that I can. Yeah, you got to spice it up a little bit because you need people to click on it. But I feel like I deliver on whatever spice I put in there. And so that's what I was making fun of in that video, not the product. So when I first got the ToneX, I did struggle a little bit with computer-based stuff, the software, and as far as profiling and stuff. Now, one of the biggest reasons is I needed to get a new interface. So I had to upgrade to the Focusrite interface. I was using something else, a Presonus. It was a little outdated and it just didn't gel with the software. So once I did that, everything started working properly. And because I have, you know, 2 switchers and a bunch of amps, I mean, it's pretty elaborate down here. So it's not just as simple as just hooking up to an amp and profiling it with it. I mean, it took a little extra work, but that wasn't any fault of IK Multimedia. It's just I have a very unique situation here with my studio, and not everybody else has that. But now that I've gotten things worked out, it's a piece of cake. No big deal. So there's always a learning curve with you know, new tech and new software, new products and stuff like that, and that's to be expected. It was a little extra frustrating with me only because of my interface issue and the elaborate system I have here. But other than that, now that I've gotten to know the product, I love it. I think the ToneX is amazing. It really is. I mean, the one thing that I would say, and here's me being honest, the one thing that I would say that I wish they would either have done, or hopefully they can do this in the future, is I'd like to see that since we can profile overdrive pedals, that we can, you know, have a pedal that we profiled and an amp model in the same ToneX pedal at the same time. I don't know if that's possible. It's not a deal breaker, but it's just one of those things that I think would be really cool. But they're a great company, and I've talked to them a few times about some other things, and they really do care about the product and want to make it amazing. And I believe them when they say that, because they're doing updates and they're constantly, you know, trying to make things better for the product and the software and everything else. So I'm a believer in IK Multimedia, and I think there's great things in store for them and future products. So I would recommend the product, dude. Seriously, I would say that you should get that because it's $3.99. It's almost risk-free at this point. Give it a try and reach out to me when you get it. I'll send you some captures and you can try them out for free and see if you like the product. You know, I mean, I'll help you out and you know, get you started on the right path. And for those of you who do have a ToneX and you like the product, I mean, I do have a website, tonewars.com. It's in the description below there. Go ahead and click the link and go over to my website and get some presets for your ToneX pedal or your Quad CORTEX or your KEMPER or whatever, but I do sell presets for all those, and I hope you like them. All right, so last comment. This is from Indie Rockstar. He said, pro tip, have your amps dialed in before you start the video. It's tantamount to having to stop to tune your guitar. It's unprofessional and annoying. Well, that's funny. Well, since he said tantamount, that's a big fancy word. We should heed what he says. Yes, tantamount. I like that word. It's quite nice, actually. Just say it. It's just tantamount. Oh, yes. Yeah, so, interesting. Well, this was on a video where I compared the Friedman BE100 versus the Runt versus the JJ Jr. And I was dialing in the amps to show how different they sounded and just showing different settings on the amplifiers. I mean, the thing is, dude, I dial in amps all the time on the channel, and so does everybody else that reviews amps. I mean, people want to hear how they sound with different settings. I wasn't like, oh, I forgot to dial in the amp. I better, you know, I better turn the knob. I mean, I do it on purpose. I mean, it's not like I'm stringing my guitar or getting set up for a video while I'm live or whatever. I mean, give me a freaking break, dude. I mean, I dialed in these pedals. I even set a camera up for it. A $3,000 camera. I guess that's unprofessional too. That I took a $3,000 camera that I bought with my own money and stuck it in front of this pedal and turned the knobs for people that are watching my channel. Maybe I should have had the pedal dialed in better before I started. Oh, but wait, I was showing what the pedal did. Yeah, and that's the same thing that I do with the amplifiers. I'm showing what the knobs do and how different you can make the amp sound. And I'm trying to dial them in to sound like each other as much as I can so that people that own this amp and they want it to sound a little bit better than it does and sound more like this one or vice versa, they can learn that because I have the amps here. That's my job, is to turn knobs and talk about stuff. So yeah, so I don't think there was anything unprofessional about what I did. In fact, I think it was professional that, you know, I actually not only dialed them in, but I bought a camera to put in front of the amps so that they could see what I'm doing. let's go look at your channel right now. Since you're such a pro, because you're giving me pro tips, let's see the amazing videos that you have on your channel that we can learn from. Oh, you don't have any videos, but you're going to hand out advice to someone who's done this for about 5 years now, and you're just going to tell me how to do my channel, even though you've never shot a video or uploaded one to your channel at all, ever. Cracks me up, man. I don't understand why people that have no freaking idea of what it takes to do what us YouTubers do, and they just want to sit there in the cheap seats and take pot shots at us and tell us how we should do our jobs. And they've never uploaded a video, never edited a video, never done any of those things, never shot a video, never set up for it, never sound checked for it. Do you know how many hats I have to wear just to do one video? And here's just a few of them. I have to be a guitar player. I have to know how to talk. I have to know how to act and look on camera and to present things, and I have to know how to script things in my head, because I don't read a prompter, I don't write anything down, I just have to have it all up here and just kind of go by memory and just flow and let it go. And that's not easy. You'd stick most people in this chair and turn on the camera and say start talking, they're going to become stuttering messes. So you got to learn how to do that. I have to be an audio engineer, I have to be a tech, I have to learn how to troubleshoot. In fact, before I did this video, I had to troubleshoot like 3 things that went wrong, you know? You have to be a camera operator. You gotta learn how to do all that. I had to set up my whole studio so I can switch cameras and do all this stuff, and that all took time. I had to spend money on that and learn how to use all this crap. You know, and then you have to be, a producer. You know, learn how to produce all this stuff. You gotta be a lighting expert. And then when I'm done, I have to actually edit this. And then I have to be a photographer, and I have to create thumbnails. And you see what I'm saying? See how many hats it takes? And for you to sit there and I'm just kidding. I'm not really mad. But I will say, though, that comment was pretty disrespectful, and one of the things that I hate more than anything is arrogance. So get out of here with the little noodle arms, the little girly arms telling me how to do my channel. Get out of here. Get to the chopper. And go to the gym and pump some iron and get some real arms. Then you can come tell me how to do my job. Sissy. Well, anyways, let's do a mix. Let's get out of this little negative situation here and just do a quick mix. And we're going to do it with the EVH Stealth. And we're going to do it with the Alchemy pedal. Why not? Let's do that right now. There's 2 mixes for you. Yeah, so anyways, well, I hope you guys enjoyed the video as much as I enjoyed making it. I know I got a little testy there for a minute, but you know what? Sometimes you just got to do what you got to do, man. I'm just trying to keep it real here on the channel, and it is what it is. So I figured I'd do 2 mixes for you, and maybe that would help liven things up and add a little sunshine to the end of the video here. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. And man, this amp sounds amazing. Dude, the blue channel on the EVH Stealth 100 is freaking awesome. What a great, great channel. And yeah, with the Red 7 Alchemy, freaking balls out amazing. These are the settings I used with it. So, you know, there you go. And so, yeah, I hope people got something out of this video, especially with a lot of overdrive stuff this week. So I kind of like that because it's my favorite type of pedal. And yeah, definitely go out and try out some overdrives. And if you're struggling with your amp, get a couple different overdrives and cycle through them. And something I forgot to mention earlier is one of the reasons to get at least a handful of overdrives as well is our taste change. You know, there's times I come down here and I'll turn on my favorite pedal, or, you know, pedal of the week or whatever. And all of a sudden I'm like, man, this ain't working for me today. And thank God I got another pedal. I can flip that on and be like, oh, there it is. I'm really liking this now. And it's just the way it is. You know, us freaking guitar players are all a bunch of finicky weirdos. So it's nice to have that kind of stuff for us. And the pedals I mentioned in this video, I think are just no-brainers. Just if you get any one of them or a few of them, you're going to love them. Anyways, I appreciate you watching and hanging out with me today. And if you have any questions or comments that you want me to read and respond to in the next video that I do every Monday, go ahead and put that question or comment in this video, and I'll make sure I do my best to respond to every one of them. Can't always fit them all into, you know, all of my Riffs and Responses videos, but I'll do my best. Well, anyways, to all my subscribers and Patreon supporters, I really appreciate you guys. And if you're new to the channel, please subscribe and click the bell so that you can be notified every time I either go live or come out with new episodes. Well, I got a lot more stuff coming up for you guys, and I'll see you on the next one.